welcome. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is Breaking Ground and I'm Heena Gambhir. Viewers, it's day 35 of the war between US, Israel and Iran. There are no signs of de-escalation. In fact, both sides are expanding the scope of the conflict, and what has happened in the last few hours have got the entire world worried. On Breaking Ground this evening, we will bring to you the most defining developments over the last few hours. First up, US-Israeli strikes partially destroyed a crucial bridge in Iran, the tallest bridge in the Middle East. Iran's B1 bridge, this 136-meter high bridge, was still under construction. That was supposed to connect the western city of Karaj to capital Tehran. We will now show you the visuals of this particular bridge that I'm talking about. The tallest bridge in Iran that has been targeted. According to Iranian media, 8 people were killed, 95 got injured. Now, this came after US President Donald Trump warned that Iran will be pushed to the Stone Age. Remember, earlier, Iran, in fact, was talking about, America, in fact, was talking about making Iran great again. And then US President Donald Trump said that Iran is going to be pushed to the Stone Age. And these are the visuals, in fact, that we have now got of how the tallest bridge in Iran was targeted by US and Israeli strikes. Now, what did Iran do in response? Iran released another list of 8 major bridges across Middle East, including Jordan, that could be the possible targets of IRGC's retaliation. So there is a tit for tat that we are witnessing. As far as this war is concerned, US and Israel targeted a very important bridge for Iran that was supposed to connect Karaj city to Tehran. In response, Iran has put out a list of bridges that can be targeted if escalation continues. Let's tell you a little bit more about what's really happening. So, Donald Trump, the US president, had warned that bridges are going to be next that will be targeted. You've got Iran's foreign minister saying Iran will rebuild everything. US President Donald Trump had claimed then there are going to be power plants, to which Iranian foreign minister had said enemy faces moral collapse. So Iran is clearly not ready to, just listen to what Trump is saying. Iran is retaliating in equal measure. Let me take this across to my guests who are joining us on the broadcast this evening. We have former diplomat Prabhu Dayal joining us live. We also have with us retired Lieutenant General DP Pandey, who is a defense expert. Good evening to both of you, gentlemen. Appreciate you joining us here on Times Now. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, to you first. What do you make of this tit for tat that we are witnessing, especially on bridges?
Well, the bridges are vital for daily commuters and also for the transport of goods. So if these bridges are destroyed, then it is a huge blow to the infrastructure. Iran has been very badly hit, and it has, of course, stated categorically that it will hit 8 bridges, and those bridges are located in UAE, they connect Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, and some of them are in Jordan. So this will be a major setback for the infrastructure facilities in the countries which are affected. And therefore, I think that these are very serious developments. They have a humanitarian dimension. And I think the world must take note. There are calls by various international organizations not to target bridges because they affect the lives of civilians. But let us see how things go. Civilians are very adversely affected in this entire conflict.
DP Pandey, now we have Iran also retaliating in equal measure. Iran is not ready to just be quiet and listen to what Donald Trump is saying. In fact, Iran released in response a list of bridges that it has on its hit list, on IRGC's hit list. And these include prominent ones in the Middle East and Gulf, including Jordan.
So, firstly, just remember that war is fought between 2 countries, 2 military powers. It is not a one-way equation, right? that howsoever big power may be dominating a smaller one, there will be a retaliation, there will be a response. Particularly when you have a country like Iran, which is sovereign, which is quite adequately powerful. It is the 14th or 15th military power in the world, and it is not a small country to just roll over because you have given it a pounding. But when you're looking at infrastructure, and as Ambassador Prabhu Dayal has very rightly said, please understand that infrastructure, especially bridges, take years to build. They don't. They just don't. You can't just buy them off the shelf like even a gun or a plane and thereafter deploy them. These locations, these infrastructure projects take years to build, and they are very important connecting points for population, local population. But unfortunately, war is brutal. War is not nice. And that is why people say that wars are the last policy solution of a state. When they are compelled to go out for war, this happens. So if you look at the entire grand design or the structure of the war which is playing out in Iran, in the region of Iran, or rather I'll now say the West Asia, the first part of the American policy was to continue to hit out the leadership, take over control of the air defenses of Iran, so
Right.
that the Israeli and American Air Force can pound and continue to strike at will.
Right.
And thereafter, the next level was to ensure that a certain amount of destruction continues to be carried. There is an escalation model which Americans are following,
Absolutely.
hoping at some level in stage one, if the regime collapses or catapult or comes down and says, okay, we want to come and sit across the table to talk
Right.
and listen to you. So the first stage has gone by. The Iranians
Right.
have not responded well. The second stage is now also has gone over, in which they have carried out destruction of almost
Right.
every possible visible military target, storage, and the defense ecosystem.
Right.
The third stage is now on.
Right,
To
and this
get
seems
the
to
pain
be,
point to the people.
targeting of civilian infrastructure. I think that seems to be the focus of America's strategy right now as far as this war is concerned. Gentlemen, requesting both of you to please stay on with us. Let's talk about development number 2. Viewers, a big claim has been made by Iran. As per reports in Iranian media, an F-35 stealth fighter jet has been shot down. And this is very, very significant because these pictures that you can see here, these have been put out by Iran. Now, this particular fighter jet, according to Iran, has been shot down by IRGC over central Iran. These images of wreckage are going viral. Let's show you now the visuals that have been put out by Iranian media. Now, Iranian media is claiming pilots' chances of survival are quite low, though we can't really see any pilot here. We don't know. As per Iranian media, it is from Lake Heath Squadron, and if it is true, then it's the second F-35 that Iran claims it has shot down. There has been no confirmation on it from the United States of America. Let me go back to my guests and get in a quick word from them. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, earlier I was speaking with another expert, and the sense I got was that this wreckage does not really look like the wreckage of an F-35. What do you make of the pictures that we are showing to our viewers that IRGC, is claiming is actually an F-35 that has been shot down? Do you think it's actually an F-35?
Well, the U.S. Central Command, or the CENTCOM, has categorically denied the claims of Iran and has said that all U.S. aircraft are accounted for, and they have dismissed the reports in the Iranian media as false. So one doesn't really know the truth. One only picks up things from the media. But what happens is that when war breaks out, truth is a casualty. And there is so much of fake news, there is so much of fake media around, there are pictures which are created out of AI. So one doesn't really know what the truth is. But nonetheless, both sides have put up some conflicting claims regarding the shooting down by Iran of this F-35 aircraft.
Lieutenant General Pandey, would you like to weigh in on this one? Because a couple of days ago also, similar claims were made by Iranian media.
No. Firstly, I think very rightly Ambassador Dayal has said that truth is the first casualty in war. And in fact, even in the peacetime today, in this world of fake news, truth, or rather, I'll say fact, is the first casualty. And the spinning around of narratives is very important today to win the war of nerves and narratives. But this crash has taken place somewhere in the central Iran, as per my information. And there is a possibility, in case this crash is taken up, in case it's truth, then there's some merit in it. Then the Iranians will put out the face or the some sort of a body of the pilot who would have got down or parachuted after this crash. So I think in case they have claimed where it has fallen, it will be incumbent upon them to show the American pilot who has possibly parachuted off this thing. And there is a possibility, a lot of time, everybody, and I can see the flashing point, which is also important, that in the Trump's war, $100 million worth of aircraft is gone, is a very costly war. Yes, wars are costly. Right, but then wars have got long-term strategic aims, which require to spend these.
Right.
These are not toys and tools which are kept for only showcasing. And trust me, I'm not a great fan of the American policy, but the fact remains that the Americans are the only ones who got the gumption to actually go out and do what they need to do and they want to do. None of the other countries can actually carry out doing this. So this is the second F-35 which has gone
Right.
now.
And it is also called as the ghost of the skies. I mean, the most powerful fighter jet that, we can talk about in American military. And this also, if it is indeed true, this also tells you a lot about the Iranian defense capabilities, which Trump claims have been obliterated or are being damaged every single week, isn't it, gentlemen?
Hannah, look, just 2 aircrafts down, right? It is not one, they have not carried out 10 sorties over Iranian skies. They are virtually flying with impunity.
Right.
There may be some error which has happened. I think till now, between the Israelis and Americans, they have carried out about 8 or 9,000 sorties over, over Iranian skies. So even if 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 aircrafts are gone,
right,
they aren't a very significant number. Where are the Iranians' aircrafts? They were, of course, Iranian aircrafts are all 20th century vintage and late 20th century vintage. They are not nowhere compared to the American systems and the Israeli systems, who are actually dominating, seizing control of the dominance of air is complete. But that doesn't mean that couple of shots they are not going to get through. So I'm sure it is flying low. It has been shot on.
We'll still wait for an official word from America on this particular claim. Of course, we'll see if something comes out at all or not. Stay with us, gentlemen, because there has been another very important development that has taken place. We have some breaking inputs coming in. A big claim has been made by Iranian media. Iran's media agency is claiming a U.S. pilot ejected after F-15E jet was down in Iran and may have been captured by Iranian forces, though details are still sketchy at this point in time. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, this is exactly what we were just discussing. Now, there is another claim that has been made by Iranian media. Any thoughts on this?
Well, the media will be used for making claims and counterclaims. But very often, the denials are also coming through the media itself. Now, we were talking about how the Trump administration has been saying that Iran's military capabilities have been totally destroyed. In fact, on the 27th, Marco Rubio made a categorical statement that Iran's military capacity has been virtually decimated. But the same day, the Pentagon was quoted by the US media, Pentagon intelligence sources, that only about 30% of Iran's military capacity has been exhausted. 70% is still intact. And surely the Iranians are showing that they are still able to carry out attacks. So one doesn't really know what the truth is. The media, of course, will continue to be utilized by both parties.
Absolutely. And that's being done, by both sides, like you said. Gentlemen, stay on with us. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Rishabh as well, who's joining us live right now for more on this. Rishabh, if it's true, then it's going to be huge as far as this conflict is concerned. An American pilot in Iranian custody.
Well, this is big if true. See, the Tasnim News, which is semi-state news of Iran, has now confirmed that a F-59E was shot down in Iranian airspace, and the pilot, American pilot, is in custody of Iranian forces. If this is true, this is huge because this will have a backlash back home. Remember, this would be after a long time that an American military official has been taken into custody by anyone, and if that happens, it would be a huge embarrassment for Donald Trump, administration as well. But as of now, these are claims being made by Iranian authorities. We'll have to wait for the confirmation from the other side as well. Iran says that they have one U.S. pilot in their custody after they shot down a F-15E earlier today. So if this would definitely be the turning point of this conflict.
Right. Thank you very much, Rishabh. Appreciate you joining us with your perspective, with your inputs on this particular story. In fact, let me also read out what is mentioned in this post that has been put out by Iranian media. According to the Tasnim News Agency, Iranian forces have captured F-35 pilot after downing advanced U.S. warplane. Unconfirmed reports suggest that Iranian security forces have taken into custody the pilot of a U.S. F-35 fighter jet following its destruction by the country's air defense system inside Iranian territory. Lieutenant General Pandey, now we were just discussing about this particular, issue, and now it seems that the pilot is in Iranian custody. I mean, we'll have to wait for an official word from either IRGC or Iranian authorities, but this is significant.
Heena, one thing is going, in fact, in the previous part, I said as much, that in case this F-35 has been shot down somewhere in central Iran, then there will be possibly a body or a pilot which would be captured and showcased by the Iranians. And there comes your big
Right.
time American pilot would have been taken, or American military person would be taken in custody. While I agree with Rishabh that yes, it will be a major blow, but this has been happening. This will not be very rare occasion. But the fact is that in case the Iranian agencies have come out and said as much, there is a very high possibility that they are saying the truth, because today Iranian media will make a claim of such a nature only if they are able to back it up by some degree of face, because this is not disinformation war. Because in case they are not able to produce a face or a statement from a US pilot, then the entire credibility of the regime will be at stake. So unlike a disinformation campaign of other nature, this is absolutely stating a fact that a prisoner or a pilot has been captured and is in custody of the forces, which I'm sure now, as the time will pass, given to understand, and I understand disinformation warfare pretty okay, the Iranian media will come about and showcase this pilot with names and proofs. But is it a big challenge? Again, today is 32nd or 33rd day of war.
Right.
And over these many days, if this is the first instant of a pilot crashing out and being picked up by the Iranians, this it may be a big shocker for people who want to believe that Americans are, beyond. They are superhumans. They aren't
Right.
superhumans. Right, they will.
And the sense that Trump has been trying to give to the entire world that US is, in a way winning this war, in a way is also achieving the objectives. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, would like to take your closing comments on this particular issue. I mean, if it is indeed true Shouldn't Iranians officially be telling the world that this is something that has happened? Or do you think, it's again like an information warfare, that is happening?
Of course, there is an information warfare going on, but if the Iranians have the pilot in their custody, then they will certainly show him to the world. And that will make it very difficult for the Trump administration, because Trump has been saying that we are going to bomb Iran to the Stone Age. And if a pilot is in Iranian custody and an F-35 plane has been shot down, then it will be hugely embarrassing for Trump. And let's see what he does after that. But I'm awaiting more direct confirmation of the shooting down of the F-35 and the fact that the pilot is in the Iranian custody. Let's see how things evolve from that.
All right. We'll, of course, wait and see what America has to say on this and officially what Iran has to say on this. I'm completely out of time, but appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here on Breaking Ground this evening, heading into a short break.